It was the summer of 1966, and Marine units were beginning a new operation in the rugged hills south of the demilitarized zone. What started as an effort to push North Vietnamese forces away from the border quickly turned into some of the heaviest fighting Marines had seen in the Vietnam War up to that point. Several helicopters were hit and crashed in the steep terrain, patrols ran into well-organized enemy units, and casualties began to mount. By the time the operation would end, a few weeks later, more than 100 Marines would be killed, hundreds more wounded, and 3 Marines would be awarded the Medal of Honor for actions during the heavy fighting. Operation Hastings began in mid-July 1966 along the demilitarized zone in Quang Tri Province. Marine reconnaissance patrols had reported increasing contact with uniformed regular troops of the People's Army of Vietnam. On July 6th, South Vietnamese forces captured a soldier near the rock pile, and he reported that additional regiments had crossed into South Vietnam with orders to liberate Quang Tri Province. Major General Wood Kyle of the 3rd Marine Division recommended immediate action. General Lew Walt forwarded the recommendation to General William Westmoreland, commander of United States Military Assistance Command, Vietnam, and approval was granted. On July 13th, Task Force Delta was established under Brigadier General Lowell English. The force consisted primarily of 4 Marine infantry battalions, supported by artillery and aviation assets. Intelligence indicated that a People's Army regiment, estimated at 1,500 men, was using the Song Ngan River Valley, northwest of Cam Lo, as an infiltration corridor. The division command post was believed to be located on Hill 208, overlooking the valley. The plan called for a helicopter assault into the valley to establish blocking positions and drive toward the hill. On the morning of July 15th, Marine aircraft began bombing and napalm strikes on 2 landing zones northeast of the rock pile. At 0720, artillery began firing into the valley. After that, waves of CH-46 helicopters began inserting Marines into Landing Zone Crow. The initial landings met no immediate resistance. However, the landing zone proved too small for the scale of the operation. 2 helicopters collided during approach. A third struck a tree and crashed. 2 Marines were killed and 7 wounded in the collisions. Later that day, another CH-46 carrying Marines was hit by enemy fire and crashed, killing 13 Marines. The valley was soon renamed Helicopter Valley. Marine companies began establishing blocking positions around Landing Zone Crow. One company discovered a 200-bed field hospital and large ammunition stockpiles. As they attempted to push south toward the Song Ngan River, they came under heavy fire and were forced to establish night defensive positions near the riverbank. By evening, the enemy had begun coordinated attacks using small arms, machine guns, and mortars. At 1930, the battalion commander reported that his unit was surrounded. Artillery and tactical airstrikes forced the enemy to withdraw temporarily. At 2015, a reinforced People's Army company launched another attack. Fighting continued for 3 hours at close range. The following morning began with mortar fire into Marine positions. Airstrikes and artillery answered. Additional Marine battalions were inserted by helicopter into Landing Zone Robin, northeast of the valley. Throughout the day and into the night, repeated enemy assaults struck Marine positions. One company endured sustained grenade attacks at short range and suffered significant casualties, including 1 killed and more than 40 wounded. The fight was fierce, but the Marines held their ground. On July 18th, Marine units began a renewed push toward Hill 208, while troops remained at Landing Zone Crow to destroy captured ammunition and the crashed helicopters. At 14:30, nearly 1,000 enemy troops began a large-scale assault. and Marine defensive positions were overrun in places. Brutal fighting occurred at close quarters, and airstrikes were called in dangerously close to the Marine lines. Reinforcements had to be moved toward the landing zone under heavy fire. By 1700, Marine units had established a new perimeter northeast of the landing zone. Marine losses for the day totaled 14 killed and 49 wounded. Confirmed enemy dead numbered 138, with estimates significantly higher. For actions during the fighting, Captain Robert Modrzejewski and Sergeant John McGinty were later awarded the Medal of Honor. On July 24th, Marines established a radio relay position on Hill 362, north of the rock pile. As defensive positions were being established, concealed People's Army forces opened fire from short range. That's when Lance Corporal Richard Pittman advanced with a machine gun to cover the withdrawal of exposed platoons, single-handedly holding enemy forces back. The evacuation of wounded was complicated by heavy rain from Typhoon Aura and dense jungle canopy. Engineers had to cut a landing zone by hand under heavy fire, and only a portion of the wounded could be evacuated safely before nightfall. Fighting continued through the night, and by dawn, the enemy had been beaten back. Marine casualties on Hill 362 totaled 18 killed and 82 wounded. 21 enemy bodies were recovered. Lance Corporal Pittman was later awarded the Medal of Honor. By late July, Marine commanders assessed that major elements of enemy forces had either withdrawn north across the demilitarized zone or dispersed into jungle positions west of the valley. Operation Hastings officially concluded on August 3, 1966, and succeeded in pushing People's Army forces back toward the demilitarized zone. Marine leadership described the People's Army troops encountered during Hastings as well-equipped, well-trained, and aggressive. The fighting in Helicopter Valley marked the beginning of sustained Marine operations along the demilitarized zone that would continue through 1968.